Hey model railroaders, I wasn't going to do a video on this, but I decided that I would. I'm putting together my Intermountain Railroad Company cars. These are the Intermountain ones that I got for the Canadian National, oops, sorry, let's get out of the light there, for the Canadian National 4-bay hoppers that I got for $7 each. These cars are pretty detailed. You can see here, they've got the tiny, tiny grab irons that are very highly detailed. The walkway is all pre-drilled and all that goes up on the top, which is kind of nice. We're going to need that a little bit later. It comes with several tops. So it's got a rigid, it's got a flat tops, it's got red. It also has some detailed doors. And you can see here, and this is kind of cool, which we got to do some work on. The red here, that's the braking system, and it actually has piping in all the braking system. Along with that, we have more pipes that go with the braking system. So this is a very, very detailed kit. The other thing is, this may not be, what do you call it, etched metal, but it is extremely flexible. Very, very highly detailed. I mean, they've detailed it such that you can even see the details on the bottom. And that's the upper walkway. And then you've got more doors and different types of doors on the bottom too. And then another braking system. So there's lots of ability with this kit. One of the things I wanted to show you guys was how detailed that they did this. So I've just hand put on the bottom here. You can see here that they've got the 4 individual bays that actually have walls in between each one of them. So does the interior of the car. So one of the cool things about this car, and I may just leave them like this, is that I can actually leave these open and use them in an open capacity, because you're going to be able to see all the way inside, and it has divided bays in each one of the sides. So we're going to do kind of a little stop-go video on this to show you guys what they look like when they get finished. Okay? Okay. Just wanted to show you guys that it also comes with 3-part trucks on here. I hope you guys can see these. But we've got 1-part, 2-part, 3-part. These are kind of cool. They go together very, very well. And they're a snap together sort of thing that somehow they work together. And I've decided that I am going to use these until I decide to replace the trucks at another date and time. Really, really need to wash a lot of my tools because the red plastic is coming out on all of the tools. I just want to sand that down a little bit. Let me show you how these work real quick. So you've got your center. First thing you want to do is take one of your 2 items. There's a little hole in there, and then there's a little hand right up there. You just put it in and push it till it clicks. Now this is the hard part. These wheels do fit really well, and I'm using these because they are plastic, but they're highly, highly detailed. I mean, they even taper in the centers. They're a little bit bigger, and the flanges are a little bit larger than the normal ones as well. So on this side, you want to make sure that it is in the same direction as the other one. Now, once these are locked in, you can still spread them like you could before. But I thought it might be a little bit easier on the fingers, instead of having to spread these things out the whole time, is to put these in first. Once you've got these aligned up, okay, this is kind of the hard part. Get them aligned in there. Start to push this down, work it in. Okay. We're going to do one side and then do the other, it looks like, because we've got to get them lined into the right wheels. Okay, another snap, and those things are on and solid. Well, they're so solid that you can come and take the other one and put it in without pulling it apart. Okay, those are the trucks. All right. So one problem I've found that I'm facing with is going to put the couplers on. So if you guys look, these couplers have way too much play going back and forth in them with the coupler, and these are the ones that were provided. Funny thing is that the coupler boxes themselves aren't provided. I mean, are provided, but the couplers aren't. So we're going to put those couplers off to the side, and luckily for me, I have a couple of 148 with the boxes, so I'm just going to use those boxes. Okay, so one of the things that I'm noticing on these, you got to really watch the hole patterns as opposed to what's on the directions. With this particular one, luckily I drilled some holes through that were going to be covered up by the coupler. This is the brake end, and they want to make sure that everything is on the right way. So all of these little holes up here must be the cover openings, because they've got all of the holes on the left-hand side going forward on the brake side. And they make sure that they tell you that pretty well.
And then focus your efforts on getting the paint on the model.
I hope so.
So whether you're painting a small detail or need to place
it's really hard to tell because it says that they want...
so look, you can find them from a variety of retailers.
Okay. So you have to kind of place one of the doors on to see which way the doors are supposed to be opening. So we'll do that real quick. Just to see what it looks like. Boy, they really did put these on really well.
I've used a nibbler to make small complex cuts in styrene, but is there an easier way to make a long two-dimensional cut L-shape in styrene? Also,
so according to this, it says, this time, let's see, test fit the roof at the top of the boxcar. The roof should be placed so that when looking at the brake end of the car, the hatches will open to the left, which means that they should come like this and then open this way, which looks like, yeah. So there's extra holes there to show where the lift dopes are. So that's the way that it needs to go on. Little tricky things on this guy. Okay. So we're starting on the difficult part of the build. This is a blow up of the brake line details. And here you can see I have the brake lines. I had to put them on white so not only you guys could see them, so that I could actually see them. These were very, very difficult to cut out. I wound up having to use the X-Acto knife specifically set up so I can do that. So now the question is, how do we put all of this together? Because the instructions are not very good. So I just wanted to show you how little the pieces are that I'm working with. And then don't forget, we still have 3 pipes here. And they tell us that one of the pipes is thicker than the other pipe, so that's the one that we have to use first. So let's see how all this works. Okay, so I have gotten the piping together. You guys can see it's a fairly detailed build, and that came from all of these pieces over here. Okay, it's all these pieces here. However, we have a problem. The instructions that tell you how to make this are really crappy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly the way that they want you to do this, or the way that it should be done. The problem is that they had, the instructions have you put this in reverse order. So let me just show you what I mean by reverse order. And sorry about the movement here a little bit. The instructions say, gotta switch hands holding the camera. And I have to hold the camera because it's too hard to put this on a tripod and put it in here. The instructions say, put this on first, then put this on, then put this on, and then put this last hose in. Okay, and this is supposed to go on top of the first piece that we put on, which is here. Okay, they don't really tell you how to do it right. So the right sequence is to put this little guy in back here. Take this hose and attach it to the bottom section, which is underneath there. Okay. This should then go on to the top. Once you get that on to the top, then this part should go in, then this part, then this part. They have you doing it the exact opposite. So, this took me about 2.5 hours to get this aligned up because of all of the problems that they caused because they didn't tell me how to do it right. So I'm going to go ahead and put the other one together because I've got a second one, and hopefully that won't take as long. All right, so there is the first piece in, and it's not easy. One of the things that you really need to do on this build is you need to have glue that will actually flow. Okay, so that should be piece number one after this piece there. The second piece is to put that housing up on top there. Now that you guys can see that housing. Had to do a little bit of finessing and open up some holes so that it sat on there correctly. So that's part number two. Okay, so here's piece number 3, which is that very last pipe that I put in the first one. Okay, this took a little bit of doing to get, but it's fit up in there and it's working. Okay. Where'd it go? Okay. And the reason I'm not doing this and showing you guys exactly what I'm going through, it does take me a little bit of time. Plus, some of this may not make it PG-14 by the time I try to get these things in. But it's also that I can't get a camera angle or have all of that stuff in my way while I'm trying to do this. So that's why you guys are getting the after pieces. All right, so the next one that we're going to put on is going to be, where we go, is going to be this one, okay, which was, like I said, last time I did it in backwards orders. This way I'm doing it the right way. Alrighty, got that third piece in, so you can see how it fits in there and all. Now, one of the nice things about this particular model is everything is flow through, so it goes all the way, all of the holes go to the back end. So as I'm putting them in, I'm able to glue to the bottom. So I can glue these bottom sections in rather than trying to glue it in on the top, which is making it really, really difficult. So basically, this has got holes that go all the way down to the bottom. So this is where you got to know what glues to use. This is my Tamiya extra thin cement. The nice thing about extra thin cement is when you touch it, it flows into the capillaries. It also dries really, really clear. So this is me gluing those pieces that I just put on the bottom, but they're still going to be glued in because the capillary action is going to run that thin glue all the way down in there. And you can see here that I've done it before on this one, and you can't even see the glue after it dries. But it's a lot easier than trying to put dabs of glue in all of this mess. Okay, so now we're going to go for the next part of the build, which is this piece right here. That's the next one that goes on. And then it'll be followed up by that one. And then I'll show you what I had to do on the sides. That piece went in a lot easier than the other ones. This last one's going to go in even faster. But on this particular one, I did have to glue on this side. And get a little bit of that glue out of there. Sorry, I had to glue on this side because this is covered up by the gearbox there. So now comes the last one, which should be the easiest one to put on since it's got the most room. The other thing about doing this way is it actually afforded me to do the way to make it so that the pipes actually are looking better. So here's my two cars side by side. This one over on this side, you can see how the piping is. It looks pretty decent, kind of goes all in there. 2.5 to 3 hours to do. This one over here, you can see the piping, where everything goes to, how it's all glued on and all that kind of stuff. Took about 20 minutes. Okay, now that's where you come up and you say putting things together in the right order is everything. All right, so now we're going to move on to the flip side of this. And I will show you how it's going to be tough to see, so I may have to point these out, how we put these on. Oh, sorry, how I put these on. This is the return pipe, which is the two big ones. And then we've got these two small pipes down here. All right, everybody. This is Steve 87th. We're going to take a little break here. And we'll come back and show you the rest of this and how I got it to this car here. All right, thanks for watching, and part 2 will be up shortly.